Hello, my name is Matthew Lambert. This is my presentation for EDL 850, School Law. And this, of course, is Module 1, Introduction of the Three Levels of Government and Their Control in the Public Education Field. I will start about me with a personal introduction professionally first. I am a third and fourth grade special education teacher at Woodward, Oklahoma Public Schools. I previously taught fifth grade for Oklahoma City Public Schools and also high school business in Sublette, Kansas. I'm certified in business, ESOL, elementary ed, mild moderate disabilities. I was an ESL instructor through an online forum to children residing in China through a company called VIP Kid, and I'll talk about that a little later, as it was very interesting how I obtained that little gig, I like to call it. And then I completed the transition to teach program through Fort Hays and obtained my master's degree in education, and that leaves me where I am today. I have one more class than my practicum after this in order to fulfill my administration endorsement. About me, my work environment, I work at Highland Park Elementary. It's elementary school for Woodward, Oklahoma. Grades 1st through 4th are the grades we service. This is my first year teaching 3rd and 4th special education. I love it. I have no more than 5 students at a given time. I provide both pull-out and push-in services, which I really enjoy the push-in services because at the same time it gets me into the classroom, into the regular gen ed classroom that I was used to. It's an extremely positive work environment and hands-on leadership. I have a great boss who's always very involved and always willing to give advice and give criticism, but yet she does it in a great way, so it's very important. About me personally, I have a husband of 21 years. We adopted 2 children. We have Logan, our 25-year-old, and Kelston, who is 10. Kelston attends my same school, and Logan lives in Seattle, Washington. These pictures here, of course, I had to put these on here because during Christmas we did go to Hawaii, so it's a very, very fun trip. And I brought up the VIP Kid. We actually, we were full-time RVers for about a year before COVID hit. So we sold everything and traveled around the United States in pulling a fifth wheel and a truck, and that's all we had. But it was absolutely amazing. Then COVID hit, so we built a homestead on family land in Woodward, Oklahoma. So that brings us where we are today. So let's get into the school law questions and the analysis of government control. First of all, support from levels of government. What are the different types of support from the levels of government? And I'm actually going to start with the federal and mark my way down here. So the federal, I liked when I found out that their mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. I thought this was an excellent mission as a federal Department of Education. And they gave 4 criteria. No student should be denied the right to equal education opportunity. The federal government should provide funding to facilitate educational opportunities for special needs students, poverty-stricken students, and those with disabilities. And number 3, support educational research and development. And number 4, provide guidance and support for state and local educational institutions. Then on to the state and their support. Number 1, state governments exercise the authority to establish their own departments of education to pass laws governing school practices. States also choose to establish their own standards for all subjects taught. This is where we get those state standards. And then number 3, states provide a little less than half of school funding. And then number 4, states delegate responsibility to local bodies. So that's how it works. And that's what brings us, that's why I started first with this federal, because I think it is a trickle-down effect. It's the federal, the state, and then the state, of course, goes to the local, which, number 1, local. They create the school districts. Once we have a school district, there's a school board. It's usually elected officials. In my experience, I've never seen them be appointed by a mayor or city council. Then you have the superintendent who acts as the CEO of the school system or the school district. And number 4, they're responsible for funding the remainder of budget, which of course is accomplished through taxation. And that's how, really most of the school is funded there on the local level is through those taxes. On the federal level, who is in charge? So with looking at this, number 1, the Secretary of Education, of course, is the one in charge, and that's Dr. Miguel Cardone. He's responsible for the overall direction of public education in the United States, main advisor to the President on education issues. Number two, we have the Deputy Secretary, who is Cindy Martin, and she assists the Secretary in daily operations. Number three, Office of the General Counsel. Four, it goes to Office of Civil Rights. We have the Office of Communications and Outreach, Office of Planning, Evaluation, and Policy, and then the Office of Management, which is the CFO and Chief Information Officer positions, and those are all paid and elected positions. Then going to the state level, of course, I live in the state of Oklahoma. In my opinion, this is the level that has the most power and control over public education. The article in Center for Public Justice stated that state governments exercise primary accountability and oversight for government-run schools. So I think that state level is the one that has the most power. Our state superintendent of Oklahoma is Joy Hoffmeister. She's responsible for the general administration, coordination, supervision, promotion, evaluation, improvement of those educational programs, and she interprets and implements the policies of the State Board of Education. It is a paid position. The State Board of Education formulates and adopts the curriculum, courses of study, and other instructional aids necessary for adequate instruction of Oklahoma students in the public schools of the state, and they are paid positions to be on the state school board as well. Now, with the state level, we go actually to the local level. Who is in charge here? Again, we have those elected school board members. They're responsible for making decisions to benefit Woodward Public School District. These are elected officials, however, they are unpaid positions. Then we have our Woodward Public School Superintendent. His name is Kyle Reynolds. He's the CEO of our schools. Of course, his job is to work collaborative with the Board of Education. It is, of course, a paid position. We do have a deputy superintendent. His name is Jerry Birch, and that's a paid position. He kind of, fills in for the superintendent when he is gone, but he also does a lot of things with curriculum and things like that. And then we have 11 school administrators, and these are all paid positions. We have a early childhood center that has a principal. We have 3 elementary schools that have a principal. There's 3 principals at the middle school and 3 principals at the high school. So let's talk about the components and what 3 levels of government have the influence and have influenced these components. Component 6.1, that's to evaluate, develop, implement, manage communication technology, school level governance, and operation systems that support each student's learning needs. Of course, this is the local level. They are the ones that are doing the operating, providing and promoting the mission and vision of school. That is all local level responsibility. Component 6.2, to evaluate, develop, and advocate for a data-informed and equitable resourcing plan. That's the state level. They are supporting school improvement and student development, but of course they're doing that on a state level. That's not a local level type of support there. Component 6.3, reflectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, policies, and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. Of course, that would be the federal law. They are the ones that implement the laws and policies and regulations. All right, moving on. How does all of this support the educational success and well-being of each student and adult? When federal and state and local agencies come together to enhance the outcomes of the school, overall success will occur. When all 3 components collaborate effectively together, many issues can be tackled and resolved. For instance, funding, curriculum, various types of supports, mapping for each individual school, grade level, and subject matter. I would like to leave with my standard correlation here. This assignment directly relates and correlated with the standard by giving me the tools to learn how to promote the current and future success and well-being of each student and adult by applying the knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to improve management, communication, technology, school-level governance, and operation systems to develop and improve data-informed and equitable school resource plans and to apply laws, policies, and regulations. The relevance of this assignment is extremely relevant in my future position as an administrator. I must be well versed of all the laws on every level, including federal, state, and local. I understand that it will be my job to realize these laws and put them into practice each and every day. And the relevance is also understood as I'm now able to distinguish between the 3 forms of government and what the distinct roles that they share. I'd never given much thought to the 3 forms of government and their roles in education, and now I understand even more than I had. My reflection, as I look forward, I feel that I will change the ways in which I view some of the scope of power in my school. For instance, I'll add that I'm a special education teacher currently, and I'm familiar with many of the laws from the state level, federal level, but I really think that this has been a benefit in learning the various different levels of government. When I began my education career, I had never thought that there'd be so much to learn regarding the law. However, I understand that it is a necessity to be familiar and well versed on the various educational laws and who is responsible for both. Finally, I would like to leave you all with the references that I used. I did use most of the references provided, and of course, I did add some references in there from the Oklahoma State Department of Education. I'm excited to take this class, school law. Also, a little scared because I know I don't know as much as the law I need to, so I'm hoping to learn with all of you, and I look forward to meeting you throughout the class. Thanks so much.